So good morning and good evening. Let us begin by centering ourselves with the help of the mantra, with the help of our breath, and gather the threads of our consciousness which are everywhere but here. So making some effort and bringing ourselves fully here, maybe for a few moments, breathing in, breathing out, and being here fully. Thank you. So, thank you. So the topic today is the same as last time. I don't know the exact term I said, but something in the effect of learning to be still, like exploring stillness. And I was just before the session, I was just reflecting, and it's so funny and silly that for stillness, we have to talk about stillness, to reflect on stillness. Like that in itself is ironical. That if you want to be still, right? What's there to talk about? And yet, who we are and how we are, we need to be convinced that yes, stillness is good for me. I mean, we all are convinced, but I guess more and more prodding is needed so that it becomes more and more, it comes to the surface too. So last week we ended with a short meditation from Thich Nhat Hanh. And I had said that this week we'll begin with it because we must reflect on what he said. So I will play that now. So we'll begin with that short meditation. So again, if you can just, I don't know, relax and follow what he's saying, and then we'll talk about it. Yeah, I'll play it now. In case you are unable to hear it, do let me know.
Let us visualize a lake in the highland among mountains. The water is so still
Sarah, can you increase the
that
volume?
it reflects truly the blue sky and the mountain. Let us visualize a lake in the highland among mountains. The water is so
Still very feeble, Taru.
that it reflects truly the blue sky.
Okay, for me, I think this is the maximum that it's showing. It's full here. So is it feeble for everybody? Yeah. I don't think that would help, but I tried this.
Sky and the mountains.
Yeah,
fine.
now it is better.
And if you look into the water, you see your
Okay.
face, not
Yeah,
Thank you.
so I will start from the beginning.
Yeah.
So he's
Sure.
asking us to visualize something. Okay, thank you for letting me know.
Let us visualize a lake in the highland among mountains. The water is so still that it reflects truly the blue sky and the mountains. And if you look into the water, you see your face not distorted at all, because the water is calm, is still. If you take a picture of the lake, where you see that the mountain and the sky reflected in it are just the mountain and the sky above. So when you practice breathing in, you say, breathing in, I see myself as still water. Means you calm yourself by the breathing. Your breathing can become a wonderful instrument in order to calm yourself. And when you breathe out, you see that in that state of calm and stillness, you reflect things as they are. You do not distort things anymore. When we are not calm, we distort things. We cannot receive the message of other people. You cannot receive the truth from other beings. Suppose the moon, the beautiful moon in the sky, wants to reflect herself in the water of your pond, but the water of your pond is not calm. How can the full moon reflect herself in you? And therefore, it's not the fault of the moon, it's the fault of the water. If the pond of the mind of living beings is stilled, the beautiful moon will reflect itself in it. That is an old poem that I read when I was young. If you are still, then your perceptions will be correct. And we will understand what people are trying to tell us. The moon, the mountain, the rivers, the trees, everything is trying to tell us the truth. But because the water of our mind is not still, that is why we are not able to receive the truth from the cosmos. And therefore, we should practice breathing in and out and calm ourselves for true understanding to be possible. Sitting quietly and breathing in and out is a wonderful way to calm yourself and to be still waters.
Thank you. And I would want us to reflect on this. What did he say and what does that mean? Like, did it make sense to me? What is it about the still waters and the correct perceptions that Thai was talking about?
Ma'am, for me, to put it simply, what I understood is looking at a calm lake as the reflection, I can see the whole world clearly as it is. So with a clear mind, with a still mind, I can also see um, I can differentiate between what is needed and what is unnecessary, and what I'm looking at is distorted or if it is clear. So if my mind is clumsy, if my mind is unstable, which it most likely is, then I see things um, not the way they are. I see things, I see the bad and I think maybe they are good because they are not clear enough for me. So that's what I understood from this.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Your
Taru.
audio is very less.
Sorry, Jagan. Continue.
My audio is less.
Like it's very feeble. Like I can hardly hear you.
Okay, I'll
Sorry.
just try a different headphones. Yeah. Yes, Adari, please.
Yeah, Taru, even I've realized, when you wear the other one, the black one, your voice will be clearer.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's really very clear now. Yeah.
okay. Thank
Yeah.
you. I will keep that in mind. And you wanted to share something?
Yeah. See, when we are undisturbed, we'll be able to reflect what the others tell us, and we will be able to understand ourselves better. So when he was saying, the water is still, you can see your face in that. So that is what came to my mind. So if we are already disturbed and clumsy with lot of thoughts, we will not be able to perceive anything from outside, or whatever people say. But if we are still, we'll be able to reflect others also and us ourselves also. That is what I understood. I thought so. Thank you. Beautiful meditation. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you, Sadhnaji. I had studied breath work under somebody for a few weeks. And, he had mentioned that there are three core issues, I don't know what the word was, that one of the core issues out of these three, everybody has, like either it is I'm not loved, like, that's a core belief that a being carries, like just that I'm not loved. And everything he hears or whatever life throws at him, that is where he takes it. Oh, this is happening because I'm not loved. The second was, I'm not worth much. Like my self-worth has issues. And the third, I don't know, it was something about fear. I don't remember that. But the thing is that he said that all the humans in the world, all the human beings, if you sit with them and if we talk, there would be one core issue for sure, or mostly just one, that their life is shaped by. Everything that they are deciding, everything they are perceiving is through the glass of their inherent core belief. So if I'm doing something, for example, say if I just did the dishes and my partner says, oh, that one is not clean. So if my core issue is, I have worth issues, like self-worth issues, I would say, खुद ही कर ले फिर, मेरे से तो कभी कुछ ठीक होता ही नहीं है. Like I would take it on me that because I'm not worth much. And this comment is also just pushing me into it. Ki, see, I'm not worth much. See, now he's also proving, she's also proving that you're not worth much. So then my perception is not pure, right? I'm not fresh. I'm not saying that, okay, he's just saying that that dish is not clean. There's nothing on me. lot of times when people are fighting, when we especially see in movies and serials, it looks silly, right? It looks so simple. Arey, tu wo bolna chhod de, tu wo bolna chhod de, you will be perfect together, right? And yet, when it happens to us, it seems really complicated. Why is that, right? Because we are all carrying the baggages, the agendas of so much unnecessary with us, on us. So when I say that, if I'm not still, nothing would be able to reflect in me as it is. Things do reflect. Say, for example, if there's a child and you want to tell him something, and he's just running from here to there, here to there, here to there. He was like, tell me, I'm listening, tell me, I'm listening. And you'll try, but you will only feel boggled up and you will be like that, you will have to sit and then I'll tell you, right? Because I want her or him to understand what I'm saying. I want him or her to pay attention because I know that if he's doing da 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 da, like my mind is also going bonkers and he would not get much. And if he gets anything, he will not follow. So we do realize that sitting still, that stillness goes a long way. So just I guess that's what it meant to me when I heard that when the lake is clear, then everything is reflected as is. So when I am still, when things are happening around me, I can take them as is. I can see the lessons that it's trying to teach me. Otherwise, something happens to me, I mostly go into a victim mode. Oh, बहुत दर्द हो रहा है. अरे मेरे साथ क्यों हो रहा है? अरे, I get totally sidetracked by the stories and my identities. I never see that, अच्छा बता क्या रहे हैं, right? What is it teaching me? How do I overcome this? So I think it's really important again, since we're at the topic of stillness, that if I'm not still, if the being is not still, when, fear is one of the things that makes us not still. Noises, chaos, overthinking. It said, I was reading something the other day that a regular human mind, normal, they think about 300 different thoughts per minute. 300. I mean, it's really sad, right? 60 seconds and 300 thoughts. So, and no wonder why we feel so confused or we feel that life is pretty crazy or heavy or hard, because we are never here, right? We are always kind of struggling. Past, present, hardly present, mostly past and future. And that's why one feels tired and, yeah, mostly tired and not clear.
So
Yes,
just to add on to what you were saying, right? That whole tiredness that comes because like you're trying to juggle with so many rippled waters in your mind. Like there's just waves and waves of thoughts. Sometimes it just leads you to giving up. It's like whatever has to happen, let it happen. So it's sort of like an escape route for you to not make a conscious choice. But when the waters are still, then as we see the things as it is, I think it's so much easier. We save a lot of more energy in making a conscious choice. And even if you do make a conscious choice, let's say that whole mind ripple that start, is this right, is this wrong, what will happen if it goes wrong, all that also may not be there, because we realize that we're making a very, very conscious choice, and it could go either ways, but it would be a lot easier to do it that way.
yes,
So I think of something as, they talk about the brain, and most of the time it's in this mode, is the fear, fight, flight, or freeze mode. most of the times we are just operating like this. So there could be, if someone's saying something, already in your mind, you're thinking, what am I going to reply? How am I going to react? You're not pretty much there listening 100% to what that person's saying. That's one. Or it could be that because you are doing that, you might not really understand what they're saying, like you mentioned about the dishes, right? You just take it upon yourself and get in a defensive mode, or issues with self-worth. So I think for me, most of the time when I'm this way, I've made maybe my best decisions. There's been a lot of clarity when I can just bring my mind to rest. And what you say, what the video said, that, I mean, the truth becomes very apparent because there is no murkiness, there is no ripples, or it's just still. So you're calm, you're able to understand and be understood, because the same thing would happen with the person whom you're conversing with, let's say. If you are saying something and they are agitated, or they are, like you mentioned about the child running everywhere, they're not listening too. So I think that's what I get from the video as well, and from my own personal experience, that whenever my mind has been calm, I think everything has fallen into place.
Tharu, I just wanted to, ask you, you said three things, first, I am not loved. What is the second and third ones? Can you repeat that?
Yeah, I can't. I am trying to locate my. Where I took the note. Just give me 1 second. So it was, first was I'm not loved. The second was I'm not worth. Like, I have
Oh.
self-worth issues. And yeah, I am not loved, I am not worthy, and I am not safe.
Okay.
So we
okay.
operate either from a feeling of, not being loved. I mean, and there's some people who are always kind of feeling unsafe, right? As if everybody is out there trying to get them. So these are the three core beliefs. And yeah.
I think because of these only, everybody are, having some fight or argument.
So there are a lot of more beliefs that we discussed, but these were the three basic core beliefs, out of which other things, other insecurities, other issues come up. But this always rests in this. And when you talk to somebody and when they're sharing the issues of their lives, within maybe first 1 or 2 minutes, the core beliefs jumps at you, because that's what they are sitting on, that's what they are seeing their life from. And once when we touch the core belief and they become aware of it, then something changes, and slowly we can give it up. Yeah, thank you for asking me to look for it.
Thank you.
It's like my mind is a stock market. It keeps on. There are so many agents keep on saying, "ये लो, वो लो, इसको छोड़ो, उसको पकड़ो." I tend to tell myself that life is not a stock market. It is not chaos. It needs to be peaceful, but still in progress. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Gagan. A beautiful, true visual. I would not like to admit, but yeah, it is. So, just on this, I had last time I was sharing with us, there was this story I'd seen in a series called Upanishad Ganga, in which they have stories from the Upanishads. So, there was this saint called Ramakrishnan, who was, kind of an advisor to the king. So during those times, the kings used to really encourage a lot of saints, a lot of scholars to come and they would dialogue with them, or they would dialogue among them, and then the king would reward them, right? Oh, very good, oh, very, and we would have heard of it. Ashtavark, he was also, his father was sacrificed because of that. So in this story, Ramakrishnan was very learned, and whoever would come, he would have the last word, Ramakrishnan. So because he was so smart, the king would then not give them too much, right? Because he would always just conclude that because Ramakrishnan kind of won the dialogue, he would just compensate them less, maybe just compensate them for what it cost them to come for the dialogue. So the the scholars were pretty sad that why does he keep interfering? So they went and they complained to his guru. Let's see what he's doing. He's your shishya and he's, kind of screwing it up for us. So then the guru calls him and says that agar itna hi tark is, just this talking, going back and forth का शौक है, तो अपने से कर. मतलब दूसरों को क्या prove कर रहा है kind. So I had found that it's a short 2-3 minutes clip. I'll show that it's on Mon. That one thing is that I'm not talking. I can call that stillness. I can call that silence. But like Jagan, you were sharing that my mind is like a stock market, right? So ऊपर से I might be fully calm just sitting, but जो अंदर चल रहा है और ऊपर का तो दिख जाता है ना, अंदर का दिखता नहीं, अंदर का दिखने के लिए भी we have to make efforts. So I'll share that clip and we can talk about it. Okay, so right now he has just been scolded by his guru and he is deciding that he needs to talk less. If you can't hear it, please let me know.
शिवराम कृष्णन ने अब मौन रहने का निर्णय कर लिया था। गुरु ने बहुत समझाया, पर वो टस से मस नहीं हुए। और कुछ समय बाद शिवराम कृष्णन मौनावस्था में ही स्वयं से प्रश्न करने लगे।
मैं मौन हूं, पर मौन क्या है? मैं नहीं बोलता, पर मेरा मन लगातार विचारों के रूप में बोलता रहता है। जब तक मैं मन का मुंह बंद नहीं कर देता, तब तक मेरा मौन मौन कैसा?
शिवराम कृष्णन ने अपने विचारों पर ध्यान करना शुरू किया और निरंतर साधना से उन्होंने अपने मन का मुंह भी बंद कर दिया। अब वे विचार शून्य, चित्त और मन से परे आनंद की परम अवस्था में थे।
देख तो, पड़ा तो खेत में है, फिर भी सिर टिकाने के लिए ढेला चाहिए। अरे देख तो, हमारी बातों का इस पे असर तो हुआ है। इसने अपना सिर ढेले से हटा दिया।
और उस दिन के बाद शिवराम कृष्णन देह के परे चल दिए। अनासक्त, अवधूत हो चुके थे वे। किसी ने भोजन दिया तो खा लिया, वरना भूखे ही सो जाते थे।
गुरुदेव, अब लगता है कि
Yeah, so it was too strong of Hindi. I apologize, but it had subtitles. But the first dialogue that he had कि मैं तो चुप हूँ, right? But मैं चुप हूँ, but ये क्या चल रहा है, right? और अगर मैं ऊपर से चुप हूँ और the mind is just talking and talking and talking, what is that silence? So then he had to silence the mind. And then when he silenced the mind, he still again saw that, okay, now he's silent, his mind is silent, but he's still receiving what everybody is saying to him, right? So then he gave up that attachment to that if somebody's saying something to him, it wasn't reaching him. And that is why I think he, saluted the ladies that they too taught him something कि अभी भी मैं सुन रहा हूँ, अभी भी मैं silence में, I'm not there. And when you do practice silence, like I have done a couple of silent retreats, small ones, but when you start talking after, say, a 4-day, 10-day silent retreat, it takes effort. Like for the first 1 or 2 days, you have headaches actually because the being is not used to talking. It seems like hard work. Every word seems like, okay, it's taking effort for you to speak. So but then realize, how much effort and how much here and there is happening in one's being. Yeah. Hi, Jasmine. Hi, Deepa. Yeah. So any
Hi.
hi. Any
Sorry,
I'm sorry,
can you
Jasmine.
in 2 minutes, hi, can you in 2 minutes tell me like what's going on? I wanted to join it, pretty sorry, I'm very late.
Yeah. So Jasmine, the topic is stillness. So we were just reflecting on stillness. We started with a short meditation from Thai, in which he was saying that when the waters are still, it's only then that the things get reflected for what they are, and otherwise they are distorted. And right now, we just saw a small clipping from a series called Upanishad Ganga, in which the person shared that even if I'm practicing Maun, if I'm silent, yet my mind keeps on talking. So, what is that silence good for? So, that's basically it. Yeah. So, any reflections or comments on the clip? Any questions?
Ma'am, so he's able to silence himself, and yet in that one instance is affected. But he is still listening to his guru, right? I'm just curious. If he's not listening to the world, but he still has a guru that he can listen, right?
No, actually, then, we can maybe continue because now the guru, in the sense, the world is telling him, the world is saying he has gone mad now because he's not listening to anybody, but the guru is saying that now he has gone beyond me. We don't need anybody, all the guidance is within us. But because I need a father, I need a mother, I need a friend, I need a partner, so I also need a guru. But when I go beyond that state that I don't need anybody, guru is just somebody who shows us the way, right? But our being already knows the way. So there's a state beyond which a guru probably would also not be needed. So I'll just play that again another 2-3 minutes in which the guru is saying that, now he has gone beyond that need as well. So I'm assuming you can see the screen.
कि शिवराम कृष्णन ने अपना विवेक खो दिया है, उसे हमारी सहायता की जरूरत है।
जिसे तुम विचारहीन विवेकहीन अवस्था समझ रहे हो, वो ब्रह्मानुभूति की अवस्था है, योग की अवस्था है। वो कर्ता भोक्ता ज्ञान अज्ञान पूर्ण अपूर्ण सुख दुख और इस संसार से परे जा चुका। वो जैसा है उसे वैसे ही रहने दो। उसे किसी की सहायता की जरूरत नहीं है। वो ब्रह्म में जी रहा है, वो ब्रह्मलीन है, वो सदाशिव हो चुका है। काश मैं भी उसके पागलपन को प्राप्त कर सकता जो शिव रामकृष्ण ने प्राप्त कर लिया।
सदा शिव की अवस्था में रहने वाला।
Yeah, so that was the Guru. And those people who were sitting, those were the very people who complained to the Guru that, he talks too much, he talks too much. And now the same people are sitting in front of the Guru, and this is the story of our lives, that they are saying he doesn't talk, he's gone mad. So, so that's just indicative of, one must do what one wants to or resonates with, and if nobody would be able to understand the whys and whats of us, and we shouldn't let them direct us. So now, like he said, he has gone beyond the worldly decorum, ethics, whatever the conduct, and he has become one with Shiv. And the Guru is crying that I wish I could achieve that state. So, yeah. Yeah. Yes, Vasu.
There was a dialogue there which talked about the mind being bereft of thought and awareness. But how do we, since we talked about those 300 thoughts on an average, so one can never stop really the thoughts from coming, right? They're almost like clouds that they come. The only thing I think or I can assess from this is that you let them come, but you don't sit with them. But then shouldn't there be some thoughts that you can sit with that also create some awareness in you for your own growth? Like if the mind is bereft, first off, I wasn't very clear, how can the mind be bereft of any thoughts? Thoughts will come. Does it mean not to sit with them? That's where I had a little gray area. And then awareness. Is that a good or a bad thing for the mind to be bereft of awareness? Then how do we spiritually grow if there is no awareness?
Yeah, so Vasu, the way I see it, these two things happen simultaneously. Right? I am aware that a thought has come, and I choose not to go with it because right now I'm sitting in silence and I'm focusing on myself. So when we are practicing silence, there are so many different ways, there are so many different practices that one can do. So there is a time for contemplation, there is a time of reflection, there is a time for silence, right? And yet, if I am more aware, all these things can be done more perfectly. Okay, if I say, okay, for the next 10 minutes now, I'll be sitting and, I just need to say focus on the tip of my nose, for example, or just the in-breath, out-breath. Then too, the thoughts come. But I don't go with them, right? The problem is that each thought that comes, it takes me somewhere. So they're just like you exactly said, the clouds, they're just going, the sky is there, the space is just there, right? It doesn't go anywhere with the clouds. The clouds are there. And the beautiful thing is that when we stop paying attention, when we stop going away with the clouds, the intensity and the quantity of the clouds reduces tremendously, which is beautiful. And another thing that happens is I stop believing in my stories. if I'm sitting, something comes that, yesterday, that colleague of mine, she was trying to be too clever, I feel, right? Did you see the way she looked at me? So if I'm not giving it weight, if I'm just seeing this, how when we are driving, especially in India, when people are honking, I am aware, right, that if the honking is at me or if the honking is at a car which is next to me, right? And if it's not at me, it doesn't affect me at all. So just like that, when I stop getting affected by these honks, the weightage, the force that the thought carries, it just gets really negated, right? And that helps me in not then slipping again into the story of, oh, what happened, whatever reason she might have for doing what she did, I'm okay. Right? If I ever have to confront, I will do that when the time comes, if I ever feel, but I don't have to sit and just brew on it, right? That's what we keep doing. The next time she says this, I will act like this, I will complain to my boss. So I waste a lot of time in something I might not even do. And life has been an example that if I ever need to say something, I don't have to plan for it. It just happens, right? I don't have to create my stories and storylines. I know when to act, how to act. So yeah, so at least these two things happen, that they reduce. And when I stop believing in them and going with them everywhere they're taking me, their weightage just reduces. They start meaning much and much and much less to me than they would have with my consent, right? I consent to them. I give them the authority. I give them the power. Because thought in itself doesn't have energy. And I give them my.
Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah. Yes, Nandini.
I also had, also always for a very long time, I had this question about what Vasu asked, that do we not need thoughts at all? Because when I started with Buddhism is, predominantly when Thich Nhat Hanh, Pema Chodron, Hinayan side of Buddhism would always talk about attaining this shunyata of the mind, where the mind is completely silent and there is no thought. And I used to always wonder that, okay, that's the ideal, but even if you reach that state, will there be no thought? And something, I think the answer that I got, and I was really convinced with it, was from Rupert Spira. Somebody asked him the same question. And in Buddhism, they say that, there shouldn't be any thought. And what he said was really beautiful. I can even share the video, but he says that there is no problem in thinking, but from where does your thoughts or the problem? So if your thoughts are really originating from that shared space of awareness, or what we would call as soul consciousness, psychic self, in
Yeah, Nandini, for me, your voice is breaking really badly.
different terms, but the same thing. He would say the same shared space of awareness. It actually becomes a very purposeful and a beautiful exercise. I think my internet is not bad, Saru, so maybe I will.
Yeah, so what I heard was that thoughts in themselves, no, not an issue, but if it's a aware thought, like I'm aware that I'm thinking, I can choose, I can consciously choose to go with it or not. So, yeah.
Ma'am, did Sri Ram tell Hanuman that I'm an avatar of Vishnu during Ramayana?
I don't know, Jagan, I wasn't there.
No, I know. I just thought you may have read something.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
because Hanuman, being Hanuman, he has such a clear mind. yet he submitted himself to Rama. Even though I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think Rama would have told Hanuman that, I'm an avatar of Vishnu, so worship me. Hanuman just saw that Rama is his goal in life. So maybe Hanuman wouldn't let's say, except for Jambavant in that one incident, let's say Hanuman didn't listen to anyone else, but he still followed Rama. So is it possible for a disciple to see the supreme in his guru or in someone, in any person, his mother or father, and then submit to him and still have a clear mind?
Yeah, I am not sure I fully understand, but at least the first part of your question, nobody has to say anything. Like, say, if we look at, say, Mahabharat, like, the Krishna, especially the Bal Krishna time when he's a little kid, you don't have to say or prove anything. You are living in that spirit that everybody just keeps getting attracted, right? When we are in a company of somebody who's still, he doesn't have to say, hey, I'm still. See how still I am. You experience that stillness, right? And rather, if somebody says this, that, oh, see, I'm still, you would say, Arey, bol to raha hai, still hai, kahan ka hoga, right? So there is a world where the words are so important and everything needs to be said. And then there are spaces where things are perceived, right? So nobody has to tell you that, oh, I am worthy to be your guru. You make me your guru. Or you make me your, like you said, Hanuman and Ram. You just feel that love. You just feel that, for me, that is it. Like, he's the one, she's the one. And even in common worldly love, right? That's why I think, I don't know, they say falling in love or whatever, right? Like, things don't have to be said or, I don't know, proved. It's just, you just know.
Yes. Thank you for explaining that. Because in that video, the Shivaram Krishna, remember correctly, maybe his
Sorry,
mind is
Jagan, your voice is very feeble.
sorry. Am I audible
Not
now?
able to hear.
You know what? Maybe I'll turn off my.
Okay, am I audible now?
Yeah, now it is better. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sharada. So, in this case of Shiv Ramakrishna, maybe he has a clear mind, but he didn't yet see his Rama. No, for instance, because his guru himself claimed that I wish I could be like him, meaning that the guru wasn't in that state of mind. But let's say there's a person who is in a higher state of mind, then Shiv Ramakrishna would have surrendered and would have felt that, okay, this is what I need to look up to.
Yeah, Jagan, here, basically, we all are directly connected with the divine, right? That divine light is within all of us, but because we cannot perceive it directly, we need help, right? We need gurus, we need masters, mystics, their words which tell us. All they are doing is pointing us towards ourselves. Even there's a beautiful quote from Sri Aurobindo where he says that a guru just shows the torchlight. He doesn't teach you anything. He doesn't show you anything that you don't already have or know. So in the case of this series, where Shiv Ramakrishna, he directly got, when he was able to shut all the noises, first the vocal, then the mental, then from outside, he was directly in touch with his source. And now he doesn't need intermediaries, right? So if I want to talk to the Prime Minister, for example, I would need to go through his secretaries and the whole security forces, right now. And I might know somebody who would say, "Arey, I know him. Say, I'll take you, right? I need people, I need resources, I need connections. But once I establish a direct connection, then I don't need those people anymore, right? Like we were talking about the ladders, right? So everything is a ladder. But once when you have reached the top of the ladder, there's no more ladder. Then you are there. So I think what you are having problems in perceiving is how can he get over his guru, or how can he not have anything to look up to? Right? Maybe that's what.
Yes, because my belief was that human mind is limitless. Exploration of human mind is limitless, and there is no no pinnacle, no peak of a human consciousness. So I thought, how can he have that highest consciousness that he doesn't need anything higher? So that was
Yeah,
my doubt,
so
but yeah.
mind and then supra mind, right? Super mind, above the mind. So when you know the vyarthata of where my mind, the limitation of where my mind can take me, then you realize that iske upar bhi kuch hai. And again, stillness and silence begin this journey for us. That there are things beyond the mind.
Yes.
And we all are directly connected. And there are countless saints and sadhus and other mystics and masters who have been able to have that direct connection. And then they don't need, like, Sri Aurobindo's story. He went to Lele, right? That was his first guru. And he said that, okay, now what you do is you sit and you silence your mind. In 3 days, Sri Aurobindo, it's said in the story, he says, it's done. Yes, what next? Now I can silence my mind on my command. So Lele says that, now you're on your own because it's been, 30 years. I haven't been able to do it. So now you go, right? You will get further direction. So basically, even through a guru, the grace is coming through the guru, right? He's a medium. But when I move beyond the veils, then I establish that direct connection. I don't need a medium.
Maybe Hanumanji just, I'm so sorry, I come back to that example. Maybe Hanumanji couldn't get enough of that light. He wanted more and more. Even he was in a supramental state.
Everything is, here we spoke about basically the Gyan Marg in Shiv Ramakrishnan. In Hanumanji, for Meera, it's the Bhakti Marg. Right? So they couldn't get enough. They couldn't get enough of him. So their states are probably the same now. He too would be believing in some higher power, right? Shivmay ho gaye, he said. So he was now in Shiv. Like Meera was a part of Krishna, like Hanuman was a part of Ram. But he didn't need gurus now. He had become one with them.
There's a very beautiful quote, what you said. It says that Hanumanji says that he says to Lord Rama that when I don't know you, when I don't know myself, I serve you. But when I know who I am, you and I are one. So according to what you said, that kind of a stage of realization where you go out of duality of the guru and disciple, or me and the divine. Of course, it's a very, very high stage of realization. But yeah, going beyond the duality of the mind. I think like that quote came to my mind.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Nandini. I didn't know that there was a time when Hanumanji said that. So that's very interesting. And also, ma'am, you really answered the question that there are two different, there is one that is a mind of a bhakt, and then there is one that Shiv Ramakrishna ji is. So thank you.
I said their states are the same probably. The end is the same. They both reach there, but in one it feels that, he's so devoted, he's so there. And the other, he's just detaching from everywhere and he'll reach exactly where the Bhakti Marg also leads, right?
Right.
And Jagan, in terms of these stories, right? Like these anecdotes, Upanishad stories, even Ramayana, Krishna, in general, they are there to give us some learnings, right? So a lot of gurus have said that, maybe 90% of what I say is not true or don't need to be said, but I say it because you can listen to the 10% that matters. So just to catch your attention, I tell the story so that you can learn the morals in the story. So who said what, when it was said, how it was said. If I focus too much on that, I will miss what the story is saying. Right? Like up for Hanuman, right? Like छाती वो करके दिखा दिया कि राम अंदर है, right? Any movement is full of Ram. Right? Movement to movement, we talk about meditation, we talk about surrender. And he is a living epitome of that surrender, right? And that is what we take from them. But if I get into the stories, then I get distracted from the essence of what was being said. Because these stories, one guru would say it in a different way, the second one would say in a different way, the third would have different things because they are just trying to convey something through the stories. So we should not place too much importance on the story, but the moral, basically, that what do I learn from this? Otherwise, it will be very complicated. I'll have more input to do. अरे ये कैसे बोल दिया, वो कैसे बोल दिया, ये तो उसके साथ align नहीं करा ना. So we'll miss out on what is being said. I know it's hard when we are so focused on, we so devotedly look at the stories, but we must move beyond the storylines and just, yes, please, say.
Yeah, because I was taking your example especially because the most afraid I am of is my own self, of my own mind. Because the moment I leave my mind alone from all these things, I know that at this point of time, maybe in future it may change, but at this point of time, it will take me into dangerous waters, into waters that will end me. So I always want to, I'm actually happy to be a slave to the divine. And Hanumanji, I don't know, he's a bhakt, but he could do anything for Rama. And the moral I've taken it from that is, some people, they want to be the master of their minds, but there are some people who have the strength, but they are happy being a slave. And because they find that this the term slave, because of this colonization, it's different, but in my mind, the slave is someone that he's the luckiest person who has someone to look up to and keep on getting that energy, getting that information, that knowledge, that wisdom from a higher force. So based on my current state of mind, I want to be a slave of the divine. So that's why I took this example to just clarify. Thank you.
Shagan, I also think when you were talking about, I was thinking like Hanumanji was saying, or somebody who is really surrendered. to the divine. Even if you go to, Pondicherry and you'll meet, some of the senior sadhus, something that I have really found out, like after meeting and talking to them, is that they are, like as you said, they are the slave in English would be a little bit, again, you said with colonization, it has a different tinted meaning, but, completely devoted to the master. That person is the master of his own mind, because till the time you have not really mastered your own mind, you cannot surrender to the Lord. I feel like that, because um if it is from the mind that, doubt, questioning, darkness comes in front of bhakti. So even if you look at Meera, like she was so convinced that Mera to Girdhar Gopal dusra na koi. She had such deep conviction that even her mind could not make her question, that she could just leave everything to serve the Lord because she has mastered her own mind. So I think that's the first step. That's why I think, even Monica was saying the first step is to silence our mind. This is the basic step. If we cannot master our own mind, we cannot even begin. Like we start, they say you start with Gyan and the end. Even Sri Aurobindo said the Bhakti Yoga is the crowning, crown of integral yoga too. But you cannot reach to bhakti till the time you have not done, Janana and Gyan yoga, because the mind will keep creeping in, will tell you, the devil will come. I remember something very beautiful of the Christ story, that when he was going to be crucified, the devil came in the form of the Lord, like, in the form of his inner voice came in front of him. And he said, but you are the son of the Lord, you don't have to be crucified. You can just jump off this cliff and, the God will come and, carry you. So it was his own mind. The devil that was there in the mind came in front of him, tried to trick him from the path of surrender to the Lord. And he, he said that, trying to trick me, oh Lord, something like that. He said that immediately he was so convinced of the path that he has chosen, that even if he has to give his life, even if he has to choose the cross and completely, disintegrate his whole body with blood, he was ready. And the mind had not even had one chance of coming in that way of surrender and that warriorship that he had. So I think, just I felt like that. Even Hanumanji, always a very strong controller of the mind. Nobody could stop him. Even his own mind could not. I think that's why even with silence that we are beginning, I think it's the beginner step in any yoga, in any form of spiritual practice, to master your mind so strongly that then things become a little bit easier. Like that's my take on just that.
Thank you for sharing that. It's very beautiful.
Yeah, Snehi, you're talking about the Vyarthata of the mind. Yeah, I'll share something on the group on that. But basically, it just is about the limits of the mind, right? That I have seen that how my mind limits me. Everything about me is about just limiting. Okay, I can right now do this, and this is what can be done. Okay, these are my limits. These are my limits. These are my limits. So the cosmos is saying that you are unlimited, but being where I am, who I am, I just keep boxing myself. So that is basically the thing, that when you are limitless, you don't need to be in a cage of any thought, any pattern, any habit, any mind construct. So that is just the background. And yeah, anything else? We are almost, it's been over an hour. Yeah.
There was one thing that I was thinking of when we were talking about stillness, right? So last month when I was in Ponty, so there were, let's say, like 1 or 2 days of absolute, my mind was completely blank. So although I had like a big list of things to sort out inside me, like nothing was, so it was completely blank. I was not saying, I was not thinking anything. I was not receiving, I mean, I probably was receiving that I was not aware of, but after like 2 days of that state, it became really uncomfortable. From inside I felt like, oh my god, I have not done this, I haven't sort of sorted this out, I haven't sorted that out. And then, like, the moment I leave that space of extreme silence, like let's say I come back uh, to original space of work and activity, then like all the issues remain unresolved. So I sort of had to push myself out of that state, while it was really beautiful when it was happening, where I felt like I had nothing to be worried of, or nothing in the world could really disturb, which was a very beautiful state. But one part of me kept saying, oh my god, I haven't done this, I haven't sorted that out and this out. And so I sort of had to force myself to like talk to people or do things to engage in activity. That's probably a habit, but just wanted to explore like how you sort of deal with that space of void which we're really not used to.
We had taken up the topic of emptying my cup, right? And in that we had touched upon this space that I think we had read something of the effect of, or maybe we didn't read, I read it, that it's like, the mind is like a cup of dirty water. We pour it down, and then we don't know what to do with the emptiness, the space, the cleanliness, because we are so used to the dirty water. I think we are so used to the, maybe, just a gossip or just talking unnecessarily, or just something needs to be going on, that when there is just space, when there's nothingness, it feels really strange. And then sadly, what most of us do is we fill it back with the dirty water, because we don't know how to deal with that space. And that is what, Sri Aurobindo was kind of warning against, if I might use the word, that if you would not let the space be, how will something come, right? But I'm so scared of holding on to something. And that is true for a lot of our job opportunities or even relationships, right? That we are so scared of being alone or not having a title under my name, that I just pick up anything. I don't see the quality of what I'm choosing. A lot of times, when you talk to people about relationships, they say, we were lonely. So we just, said yes to the first person who said, will you be, interested? Because I don't know what to do with my aloneness. I don't know that. So it's really good to see that, to touch that space. And like you said, it was beautiful. And one has to slowly prepare oneself, get ready for that silence, because it's a great observation that I don't know what to do with the silence. The silence makes me restless, right? And it's just my habit, right? Because I'm so used to the non-silence that the silence feels that kuch gadbad ho rahi hai, right? There's something that is not right. I had actually found a very beautiful article, The Strength of Stillness. It talks about both silence and stillness. So we can take it up today or next time, and a lot of things would be answered in that. And I think for the dirty water, maybe we can read that again. If I Yeah, I think this.
One thing I have also like, especially in in today's era, the chaoticness has so much entrenched into the system as well. Like personally, I feel for myself that one of the things, especially here, when you are away from the family in the West, especially when you have to do everything on your own, this whole idea of multitasking it is so much celebrated, and you have to be a multitasker, especially from women. I think, this thing is expected that they have to be, perfect in everything and multitask. And how can you be still when you're multitasking? Because your attention is so much scattered in so many places that you cannot do. Even with myself, no matter how much I try, like, I would be making a tea, making a sandwich, trying to juggle up so many things, and the stillness cannot be there because my mind is scattered in five things. I cannot really fully bring my concentration, or the words that you used in the beginning of the session, threads of consciousness. My threads of consciousness are constantly torn, and it is like, it's not only my choice, but it is so much entrenched in the system. If I do not do it, I just peril, like I just vanish, because so many things to do. So, like, something with like Thich Nhat Hanh, he so much focuses on just doing one thing, or even all Zen masters, I think, doing one thing with your 100% concentration. And I struggle so much with it because I think, oh, I have to do 20 things. I have to do yoga. I have to do meditation. I have to prepare for my chapter. I have to attend classes. I have to cook. I have to exercise. And it's like that, and we cannot. I don't know how to escape it. So I mean, I would love reflections from people who have tried to manage this, but mind just really becomes a chaotic machine and poor mind, and then we take few minutes out, like 20 minutes, to sit down in meditation, but we undo all of that by living a life which in itself is so much scattered. And if you don't, I don't know, if you don't do, what do you do? Like, that's the system. So like, I just thought of maybe just asking other people how they have tried to really tackle this. I struggle with it a lot.
So while I was listening to you, right, so I just wanted to share that I did a workshop a couple of months back on conscious time management. So what happens is that even I was struggling with this issue of multitasking because for one, my work requires multitasking. And of course, on your day-to-day activity, also you do a lot of multitasking. So a very useful tool that came up was conscious calendaring. So you have like 12 things to do in the day, but at one point of time, you're still doing only one thing. Like, for example, when you're making tea and a sandwich, so let's say you say for the next 10 minutes, I will make only tea. And then for the next 10 minutes after that, I'll make only a sandwich, right? You're still like doing the same task in half an hour, but you know that for the time being, the next 10 minutes, you're doing, let's say, two things, or like maximum two things, the best is one. So it sort of declutters your mind. So let's say for a week, you make like one calendar, like from the morning to the evening, you spend time with yourself. Let's say you schedule like half an hour for it. And that time you're not thinking about the 100 other things that you do during the day. And the next half an hour, you break it up into like 15 minutes, 15 minutes. And then say, I'll make a tea here, make a sandwich here. And then let's say you give yourself a break for another 15 minutes. So while it sounds very rigid, right? So one of the points that came up during the workshop was, how do you, it sounds very rigid for you to slot your times in 15 minutes. Like, how is it any different than what we do in a corporate job? But it is actually very different because it will flow through you, and you are making a very conscious choice of how you use your time. And I've tried it for like more than a month. And I felt that I had a lot of space in me to deal with other things, to just reflect. And I was not like running behind like 100 things that were to be done because I knew where to place them. So, I mean, Google Calendaring, there's an app called Asana, which may help that. I will share it on the group later, but I felt that it really helps with this issue so that you save like some space within you to like reflect, to be with yourself.
Thank you. When Nandini was sharing, I was reminded of this quote. I don't exactly remember it. It said something like, no, one must pray for maybe 30 minutes a day. But if you're too busy, you must pray for 2 hours. It sounds silly, and yet it's very reflective, right? That if you can't take out that time, that means something is wrong with your schedule. Change it. You need to then put 4 times more time. But what we do is we stop praying, right? We say that no, it's too much. Let me stop the one thing which is the most essential. So just reflecting on, you repeated it several times, it's expected of me. Who's expecting? Why am I carrying the loads of expectations? Acharya Prashant, he has this dialogue. He says, Usne kaha, tune suna kyun? Right? At a logical level, it would feel, यार उसने कहा तो मैं यहाँ था सुनूंगा नहीं क्या? But the point is, why do I have to make it my baggage, right? And honestly, Nandini, from my own experience, when you give up these baggages one by one, you realize कि किसी ने कुछ कहा ही नहीं था, मैं ही बैठ के सुन रहा था. So I picked it up. I can unpick it. I can stop, as it becomes habit, it has become a habit. But if I say no, that's it. Shh, abhi yahi. So you will see how easily and how fast the simplicity comes back. And then you'll realize there was nobody expecting anything. It's like when I pick up a role of a person, of a partner, of a friend, because I have so many images of that role, I just pick them all up. And I say, this is expected of me. And I falsely start believing if I don't do this, I will be termed, he's not doing it well. Honestly, firstly, nobody's sitting there judging. And if anybody is, that's their load to carry, not mine. I didn't sign up for this. Even if it's a conventional role, conventional expectation, I get to choose and I must choose. And till I choose, I will not be happy. Because that expectations from that role that I'm perceiving from Hollywood, Bollywood, stories that I've heard will not let me be my true self. And lot of breakups, lot of divorces happen because we are not able to deal with those expectations, but we don't even realize that we can give them up. We can choose to see that it's mostly in me. And if it's coming from outside, I can choose to say, no, I don't do it this way. Yeah, I know that the typical heroine in a Bollywood movie does it this way, but no, I'm sorry, I'm not that heroine and I don't want to be. That's also a very important question because most of the time I want to be that person who everybody looks up to. But then I am a slave again, right, of those expectations of my images. And not Jagan's slave, that was a different slave, that was a good slave. But this would be a slave I don't want to be, right?
No, that's very true. And for me, I think the expectations come from my own self. It's not really from outside. I'm a little bit blessed on that sense, but it's from my own self, the image that I carry. It's really hard every time you question it, but it's so much conditioning that you carry to be perfect in this and this and this. And it makes you do multitasking and this. But yeah, thank you for that. Good to reflect.
Thank you. Vasu, I think you had unmuted, yeah.
Yes, दो चीजें मेरे जहन में आ रहा है. एक तो ये कि I'm also practicing my Hindi, by the way, and so out of touch. I love to speak in Hindi, but I just find it easier to discipline my children in English. So just out of convenience, I use that. Okay, that's digressing. एक तो ये चीज मैंने सीखा है कि जल्दी का काम शैतान का काम. हमें ऐसे बहुत बार लगता है कि अगर हम 10 चीजें कर लें, जैसे मल्टीटास्किंग कहते हैं, और देखा जाए तो कोई भी एक चीज ढंग से होता नहीं है. हमें लगता है कि हमने बहुत अच्छा काम कर लिया आज, 10 चीजें कर ली है, तो वी फील वेरी ग्रेट. सो ये मैं खुद भी, जैसे मीरा कह रहे थे, कि आप एक चीज करो और 100% दो उसको. जस्ट बी लाइक प्रेजेंट. सो यू कैन डू. आप एक अच्छा काम कर सकते हो और आपको एक्चुअली ज्यादा फुलफिलमेंट मिलेगा एट द एंड ऑफ द डे। और जैसे आप कह रहे थे तरुणा कि कौन कह रहा है हमें, बहुत सही बात है, हमें कोई कहता नहीं है। हम बहुत सारी चीजें अपने ही जहन में लगते हैं कि हमें ऐसा करना चाहिए, हमें वैसा करना चाहिए, बट एट द एंड ऑफ द डे वो चॉइस हमेशा हमारे साथ रहता है कि हमें क्या करना चाहिए, क्या चीज इंपॉर्टेंट है और कौन कह रहा है हमें। सो वही थोड़ा सा आई थिंक गति को थोड़ा सा कम करे तो आई थिंक और ये सब चीजें समझ में आ जाती हैं। सो दैट्स व्हाट आई जस्ट वांटेड टू शेयर।
Yeah, thank you, Vati. And you know what Meera said is one thing, that no matter what we are thinking, we are always doing one thing at one point. I might be doing things simultaneously, or, and yet when I am making tea, if I'm putting, I don't know, anything in it, that at that moment I'm just making tea. So I can do that together, and then the next bulk, next bulk, like she was saying. It's a false perception that अगर जैसे रायता कितना फैलाया हुआ है मैंने, like we say in Hindi, right? I might spread it too big, that might give me a feeling that I'm doing too much. And yet I'm doing those 4 things that take 25 minutes, even if I do them one after the other. But then I don't feel that thrill, that see, so much I have done. So it's mostly, I want to say all, but that would sound unkind. So I'll say mostly just my thing. I pick it up, I can let it be, and nobody's really expecting much. And even if they are, it's for them. I can choose to be light, and I must choose to be light. Otherwise, it just keeps getting heavier and messier, and I keep blaming others, which is the worst. So, yeah, Jasmine, you have come after ages. In case you want to say any last words before we end, if it's possible. I don't know where you are, or maybe what stillness
Uh,
means to you, or anything
yeah,
we have
I
discussed.
think I'm enjoying the stillness and listening in the background. So it's nice. Perfect. No, but you know what? I realize I think it feels like it, but how everybody was talking about, like, how do you bring it in your daily life? But I have in my practice, I haven't been able to sit for the session, but I've been able to, like, just kind of what I have come to realize over the past couple of months, especially, is I see the nature of my mind, how my mind engages me. You know, how you said it limits you. So I have been able to kind of witness that. So in those moments, in practical moments, I'm not even talking about meditation. I've seen how, your thoughts itself can entangle you if you kind of get entangled in that. So I've been practicing that, and that has brought me back. I mean, I'm in the midst of chaos or, things going on, reactive. I see my thoughts. I've actually can kind of feel that space. And that space, I I've seen I get a choice, in practical day-to-day life. And like how Taru said, so much I feel all experiences within ourselves. So in that sense, I've come to realize that all that I'm experiencing, whether it's expectations from the roles or, whatever it is, it's all in my mind. So I think I've been it has brought curiosity to my daily life, because when I now go in the day during, like, start the day, I I kind of try to drop those things as much as I can. And so much of unlearning that I feel I've been doing. And I started questioning my thoughts. Sometimes that questioning doesn't come so easily or in clarity. It comes with a lot of mess. It comes with a lot of uncomfortable discomfort. But I started staying with it. So in that sense, start my day with my curiosity. And it kind of I feel like I'm in touch with that, not the ultimate silence or stillness, but I feel there is this stillness in the background. So how you said initially, like both are there, the thoughts are there and the stillness is there. So I am kind of enjoying that ride right now. And this session was like a beautiful reminder of all that. And it's good to know, you know, and I think it's good to remember and to do it collectively in a group. I think I kind of missed that. So that was really nice in the session. And I think that's how it was meant to be, sort of thing today. I didn't know the topic, but it was nice. I am sorry. And the last thing, I think it's just one thing you said in one of the sessions, and I think it's important, you know, in practice nahi aata, and you said to practice karo na. Like practice karne se practice hoga, and you know, it's true. When you actually start practicing and actually bringing it, chahe initially it's very intellectual, it actually does kind of permeate through your life, through you, and you see that softness, or you know, that like there is, the hold is not so strong, so you see start how it starts to soften up, and slowly there's a space, and I think you can see the duality. I don't know, not so good with the words, but you can see the duality and you can see the choice. So to me, I find that practice is what I've been doing more actively now. And now it just comes more automatically, because it's like you've tasted something, you know the taste, you know the difference. And so now, yeah, so that's all.
Thank you. Yeah, we can. It's 1.5 hours, our maximum limit. We can end now. If there's anything anybody wants to share before we end, otherwise, this is it. And so, just taking one last minute of gratefulness, of aspiration, that may I be able to touch that stillness more and more, because that stillness makes me who I want to be. So praying for that stillness for myself and for everybody. I know, I don't know, but praying that we all can learn to be still, because we already have too much action, too much chaos. And the only way to peace is through stillness of an individual, of a society, of a country, of all of us. We want to be grateful for this company. And this exploration. Thank you so much.
Tara, can we discuss on the timings?
Thank you.